Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. It is Wednesday, the 7th day of December, 2022. Clive Walsh here, inviting you to join me for the reading of our devotional thought for today, coming from the devotional book, Truth for Life by Pastor Alistair Begg. And if you are unfamiliar with Alistair Begg, he's the senior pastor of Parkside Church in Cleveland, Ohio, and the Bible teacher at Truth for Life, which is heard on the radio and online around the world. And we're really blessed and fortunate to have him right here on Lighthouse Christian Radio, FM 101.3 at 6 a.m. as well as 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday. Today's devotional thought is entitled, Walking with God. And our verses today, Genesis chapter 5, verses 22 and 24, and it reads, Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. That's Genesis chapter 5, verses 22 and 24. Pastor Alistair Begg writes, Genuine faith is no flash in the pan. It's both a decisive act and a sustained attitude. Enoch, we are told, walked with God, but this wasn't always the case. It is clear from Genesis chapter 5 that there was a time in Enoch's life when faith began. In fact, we're told that Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah. Perhaps, as with many life-altering experiences, the responsibilities and challenges of parenting quickly revealed Enoch's inadequacy to him. Whatever the case, there appears to have come a moment in Enoch's life when he stopped believing in himself and stopped depending on himself and started believing in and depending on God. But not only was Enoch's faith a deliberate choice, it was also a sustained relationship. Faith begins with and continues as a decisive act. Enoch walked with God until he was not. And as a result of his enduring faith, Enoch was taken by God. He didn't taste death. Enoch's almost unique end-of-life experience anticipates the glorification of the body, which will be the experience of all believers when Jesus Christ returns. Paul explains that the trump will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed. For the perishable body shall put on the imperishable, and this mortal body puts on immortality. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 52 and 53. When we walk with God, remembering that every dimensions of our lives is under His control and constraints, then being gathered into our eternal future will change our body and our settings, but it will not change our company. Enoch's sustained relationship with God has culminated in his enjoyment of God's presence forever. If we are going to spend all eternity in the worship of our God, then in worshiping Him on earth, we are simply beginning what will never end. If you are going to spend all eternity in fellowship and in adoration, then our experience here is preparation for what happens there. So walk with Him today. Be aware of His presence. Be dependent on His grace and power. Be quick to ask for His forgiveness. Be alert to His guiding. Walk with Him today, until today is the day we will see Him face to face. And what a glorious day that is. Until then, folks, remember, we are in preparation right here and right now for what lies ahead. So worship the Lord as if you are going to see Him the next second, because we just might. Well, that concludes our devotional thought for today. Trust that it ministered to you as it did me. Walking with God on this December 7th, 2022, reading from the devotional book, Truth for Life by pastor and author Alistair Begg. And for those of you reading through the Word of God in 1 year, Esther chapter 3, 4, and 5, as well as the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 32 through 57. And may the Lord richly bless you, give you a great day. My name is Clive Walsh.